So, hey there, everyone. Welcome to A Slice of Life with Kellie and Jon. Today we have a guest, Shirley Jordan, who has credits forever. So, Shirley, in looking on your IMDb page, it looks like once you started working, you just never took a break. Like you've just worked as an actor your whole life. Is that about it?
Kind of. Resumes do that. They make you look like you've been working all the time when you
Well, because,
they're
as an
designed.
actor, you're always hustling. You're always trying to get the next job, trying to get the next job. And your resume does look like you went from job to job to job to job. There weren't very
Or
many.
at least you got the job.
Yeah, that's
That
hard to
people don't
do.
understand.
Right.
That auditioning process takes months in between,
Yeah.
which is all part of the job.
Right. Well, auditioning is our job.
Yeah.
That's the job.
Yeah.
And that's what we do mostly every day. And we have to get better at it. And especially now with these new practices that have come into play, like self-taping. We have to audition from home. We don't go into the offices anymore and meet and greet and shake hands and get the feedback and get direction. We have to do all that ourselves at home. So
Why you have that blue screen behind you? Or?
that's it. That's the blue screen that I audition in front of. And because my husband was in the business also, I have a lot of nice equipment because he's not using it anymore. So I have it. And,
So your husband was a cameraman?
No, he owned a VTR company, which is a playback company.
Okay.
They hook up all of the computers to the camera and take all that information and put it out on monitors so everybody can see it. They edit it, they do all this stuff, so and end up with the finished product.
Oh, so you have a little behind the scenes help.
Yes.
And so I'm interested in, so when I was acting, you went to the office and auditioned. So now they don't do that. You submit your headshot online and then
we
how
don't
do
use
you do it?
headshots anymore. We use headshots, but they're all online. There's nothing paper that goes back and forth. We don't have to bring it with us. There are a couple that we can go to, and they're usually commercial auditions, and maybe a theater audition every now and then.
Do you then do they send you your sides? Those are the script pages.
Yes.
They send you the sides, and then you do the scene there, and you present it to them.
We shoot the scene. We're now the gaffer. We're now the director. We're the actor. We're costumes, hair, makeup, editor, because you have to edit your scene down. And then you have to learn how to use the platforms that all the different casting people are on. And there are about 4 or 5 of them. And then you have to figure out how to get stuff out of your computer to their computer within a timely manner.
I know, I know I'm probably going to ruffle a few feathers here, but so what does an agent do anymore?
The agent gets you the auditions. And they're also there to, at least I use mine to talk to and find out, what do I need to do? How can I make this better or easier for you to get me more jobs? What do you need from me? Do you need more information? Do you need different pictures? Do you need a new resume? Every tool that I have in my little toolkit, I have to give to them, and they use it to get me more auditions.
Where do you stand on managers?
I have a manager. I love my manager. That's the thing. I had a few managers, a few agents, and you come and go. You outgrow them, or they don't do,
Right.
they don't have the same goals that you have in mind for yourself. So you dovetail and go that way. But I love my manager, Entertainment Lab, and my agency is Avalon Artist Group, and they found me. I called my agent and said, I'm ready for a manager again, after many years. And they said, all right, we'll look into it. The next day I get an email from Entertainment Lab. Hi, I see you don't have a manager. Would you like to come in for an interview? And I said, yeah. And I called my agent back and said, you guys work fast. And he said, what are you talking about? So I went in for the interview after I did all my due diligence and checked out who they were and who they knew. Turned out they knew 25 people that are friends of mine in the acting
Oh,
business.
wow.
And so when I went in, I said, okay, how did you find me? And they said, oh, we looked on IMDb and we said, oh, we don't have her and she doesn't have anybody. Let's call her in. And IMDb is vast. You know how big that
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
So
They're
to
doing
be
their homework. You know, they have to do something.
exactly,
That's what they should be
exactly.
doing.
You know, Kelly,
Recruiting.
I know
What?
that you were a fan of, well, first of all, is there off the top of your head, Shirley, how many, not commercials or anything like that, but TV shows? Any idea how many you might have been on?
No.
I know. A
I
ton.
mean, this goes way back to Jake and the Fat Man. You
I was
know?
going to say, what year was your first episodic that you were on?
Oh my gosh.
Was
I
that
did soaps a lot in New York. When I was back there in the 80s, I did that's basically all they had. They really didn't have anything else. So I started out on soap operas.
did you do a Bold and Beautiful?
I did a Bold and Beautiful.
Kelly.
I did all of them, I think.
Yeah,
I
we
did
just
search for
interviewed
them.
Carrie Mitchum from Bold and the Beautiful.
I'm sorry.
We just interviewed Carrie Mitchum,
Oh, did
who was
you?
on Bold and the Beautiful for 4 years. And
Yep.
I was on Days of Our Lives for a while.
Oh, there
I
you
did I think one days, I did something called Search for Tomorrow.
Yeah, I remember that one.
I mean, so we're going back,
Yeah.
and that's actually how I got my union cards. I was a principal on, was it Search or one of those back
These
then,
in the 70s or 80s? I don't know.
80s.
They were the 80s? Okay.
And at that time, I was a member of AFTRA, and SAG and Equity opened up their doors to people who wanted to join for a half price if you were doing a principal role in your mother union. And I was. So I ran to SAG, I ran to AFTRA. I was like, here, take it now while I'm making it. And yeah, my dues were half price for a while. It was real. And then they closed those doors really fast.
Right.
Yeah, they probably got flooded with people.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It was so hard back then to get a SAG card. I don't know if it still is, but
Okay, so
hard.
It's more expensive now.
I know that Kelly was, or still is, a fan of the TV show Friends.
No.
And I see that you have something there that's on your resume.
Yeah.
I do. 20 years ago, I did an episode of Friends, and I played the OBGYN who told Phoebe she was having triplets.
I watched your
And,
demo reel and I saw it. I was all excited. Yeah, really neat.
That was so much fun, but it was hard also. One, I was intimidated, yes, because you're sitting around the makeup room running lines with the entire cast, and I was a little starstruck. So we did my scene, which was great. Everybody, it was a live audience, like 400 people, and everybody applauded, yay!
Wow.
And I thought I was done, and I'm starting to leave, and I see the writers come down, and they're like, okay, hold on, we're going to change it all up now. This time we're going to have you say this, cut that line completely, don't go over there, just come over here and do that. And they did this whole thing, and I'm going, I'm sorry, do we have time to run this before they said
We rehearse?
in 5, 4. And so somehow it happened flawlessly. And I was like, oh, thank God. And here they come again.
Oh.
All right, now this time we can make it better. We did this 7 times.
Oh, wow.
And apparently what happens is this audience is a microcosm of the bigger audience out there in the world. And if they can get a really good laugh and a really good response out of this little group, it's going to project out into the world even bigger. And so they knew exactly what to tweak, exactly what to add, exactly what to change. And obviously they did it so well that the show ran and ran and ran. And it was fun. And then I was done. They said, hey, great. I went up to my room, started taking my stuff off, knock on the door. Hey, they wrote you another scene.
Oh,
Wonderful.
yeah.
It's the tag. Wonderful. I didn't shoot that till 2 a.m. I was done at like 9.
Oh.
So I'm sleeping on my face. I'm trying not to mess up my hair. And we go down and we do the scene, and it was cut from the show. but it is still in the compilation, that you can get at the video store and stuff. It's still in that.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
So,
fun.
okay, now in all those years, your what you feel is your most memorable role, the one that you felt was your best performance.
My best performance.
Wow. No one's
Wow. Well,
never,
Put you on
uh,
the spot, huh?
I'm
yes. I mean,
Or the
I've had a
most
lot.
fun or memorable or
Um, yeah, I actually, oh God, there were so many of them.
that's good.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. Although there's one that I'm really, really proud of because it affects me personally as well as career-wise. And that was a couple of years ago, I was diagnosed as being diabetic.
Mhm.
And it was a wake-up call for me because, there are a lot of people in my family, and it was the normal thing back then that everybody had diabetes, and they called it sugar, not diabetes, because they didn't know that word. And I was a little young, so I didn't really pay attention to it. And, and everybody kind of went through some sort of diabetes, high blood pressure, kidney disease, et cetera, et cetera. And then when I finally heard this again, a couple of years ago, I was like, oh, okay, I've seen this happen to family members. Um, and I've seen what they went through. So I thought I better stand up and like take notice. And I put out the word to the universe. It's like, oh, help me, please. And 2 weeks later, I was cast in this show called Linked by Love. It was a 6-part series. And I played Ernestine, the mother of a daughter who was diagnosed with diabetes. And she went through the full gamut. She had the high blood pressure, she had the kidney disease, kidney failure, dialysis, and a successful kidney transplant. So I got a personal up close and front view of what I was supposed to do to beat this thing. And I was, I can't tell you. I mean, it was very eye-opening for me. And playing the mother of this, I had a lot to say. And it's a 6-part series, linked by lovetv.org. And it was commissioned actually by a woman by the name of Nicole Mendez, who is the executive director of the Mendez National Institute of Transplantation Foundation. And she commissioned Nicole Butler to write this specifically for the African American community to get the word out on how to deal with it, because the African American community really they're mostly comprised of people who are not going to go out and get the right medical attention, either because they don't know how, or resources, or just because of old ways of thinking as well. So all that came into play, and I picked up what I could from it, and I ran with it. And I am proud to say that I am no longer pre-diabetic. My numbers
Good.
are really low.
Good.
And it was so heartwarming to be able to go to work every day and know that I was doing something much bigger than just getting a paycheck or credit on my resume. We were actually saving lives, including my own.
How did
And
you lower your numbers? How did you
She stopped
my
drinking
husband and
soda.
I,
She stopped
I
drinking soda.
you know, soda gone, sugar mostly gone except for chocolate. We've become more of a plant-based house, and I enjoy taking the old things that we used to eat all the time and just changing up the ingredients that go into them, so I can still enjoy the meals, but not have all the that goes with it that doesn't do me any good. I have a garden in the backyard. I grow veggies, I grow herbs, I grow lemons, blueberries, all this good stuff that I needed, I can just go out and grab in the backyard. And we just have and I exercise. I love to walk. I'm a big walker. I mean, I live by the beach. Why not?
Nice. Yeah.
And,
Yeah. They
I
say
mean,
walking is such a good exercise. It doesn't cause any, like running hurts your joints and everything.
yep,
when
absolutely.
I lived in LA, Shirley, we used to come on those walks with us
Right.
all the time, you know,
The
up
hikes up, was it Fryman Canyon? And,
in Fryman Canyon and Runyon Canyon.
mhm,
Well, they were great. They were fantastic.
yeah.
Okay,
So,
what role did you have that you're most proud of, or is it that particular role that we just talked about?
it was that one.
Okay.
And then the second one, that dovetails into the walking. I was a couple of years ago, also diagnosed with, it was a malignant neoplasm of the thymus, which is some rare cancer. And it was like here in the middle of my chest, attached to my lung and pushing on my heart and all that stuff. And I had robotic surgery. Yay, that was so cool. I didn't see it, but I looked at videos after. And prior to that, I had been taking a class with this woman named Wendy Braun. It was called the Success Breakthrough Workshop, and I was ready to go. And then I had this setback. So the thing I did to recuperate was to walk every day. And every time I walked, I would listen to another episode. I would listen to her meditations and how to change my mindset and fear of missing out and, and how to get healthy again. All of this stuff. She really, really did it for me. And so once I got back on my feet, I got a commercial audition for United Healthcare.
Oh.
And what I had to do was go into the room and walk around the room as if I were very proud that I had good health care behind me. I had good doctors. I was healthy and I was happy. And so I just went in there and I did this thing. And I went back to the callback and I did my thing and I booked it and I'm doing my thing. And behind me are about 15 to 20 doctors and jackets and their scrubs and everything. And they're, and I'm just walking away. And that was the commercial, just to walk healthy. And I was like, no, and that was the first commercial I had booked in like 5 years.
Oh,
But
wow. You were living it.
I was living, yes, both of these things came out of me being one in the business and knowing how to utilize what I had to get what I want. It was, I don't know, art imitating life, life imitating art, something
Right.
like that. But they were both two of the coolest things I've ever done for me and for in my career.
Well, just so you know, the reason that I emphasized the soda to Kelly was again because just to go back, we had previously interviewed Carrie Mitchum and this whole anti-sugar thing that we were talking
Talking
about.
about that.
And
Healthy eating.
saying, I mean, certainly you and I, I haven't had sugar in me for decades, but Kelly still has her, she's eating healthy. She's doing very good, but she loves her soda,
I wouldn't say I'm an okay eater, but I like sugar. I'm a sugar addict. So anyway, we were just talking about that. And I really do. I'm pre-diabetic and I have some other issues that I'm looking into right now.
We can talk.
Yeah.
We'll talk.
I just have to give up. I have to give it up. I just have to stop drinking the sodas and eating the sugar.
It's a lifestyle change. And it's also like a row of dominoes. You knock one thing down and the others are going to fall behind it. And it gets easier and it's something that you eventually do embrace.
Mhm.
And it's not a scary thing. It's just a matter, okay, so today I'm only going to have one soda. All right. So, okay,
Well, that's
tomorrow.
probably all I drink anyway. Every day I have.
Oh, that's not bad.
But once I have it, it's just a habit. It's just, it's a craving for me. And I don't drink the whole thing. I drink, a little bit with each meal. Anyway, and then cookies and cake and candy and ice cream. And so I just have to replace them.
An apple, strawberries.
Well, I recently got red grapes. I'd always had green grapes. And they said the red grapes are better for you, have cancer fighting properties. Oh my gosh, those things are like a piece of candy.
They
I'm like,
are.
oh,
Don't eat too many. They
yeah,
are like
yeah, because they
candy.
do have sugar in them.
Can I make a suggestion? Kind of with your red grapes, take a few handfuls of them,
Put them in the freezer.
freeze them, and then take them out and just let them
I
melt in.
like them. I like the flavor. I only eat like three of them, three big ones. It's like three pieces of candy to me. So I am looking for new ways. And I've always been a picky, anyway, this isn't about me, but I've always been a picky
That's
eater.
right.
And I've just got to branch out and try some other
Shirley,
things. But
when did you start? What made you say, I think I want to give this acting game
yeah.
a try?
Ah,
It obviously worked for you. You made the right choice.
Right.
yeah. Well, thank you. I think so. It started for me, obviously many, many years ago, but I was an Air Force brat, and we traveled around quite a bit before I landed in any permanent school system. So I never really had the opportunity to make friends or have a tribe,
Mhm.
a group of people that I could just, hang out with, because I was never there for very long. So I think the first recollection that I have of being in a group of people where I felt, oh, this is good, was when I was in junior high, and I became a cheerleader. I was
Where
like,
was that?
this is in Pawcatuck, Connecticut. And PAWC, never mind. Anyway, and then when I went to high school, I kept up with the cheering, and then I joined the drama club. And I realized, oh, okay, they have something in common. I'm standing in front of a large group of people. I'm performing. I'm having a good time, and I enjoy this. And they do too. That was the thing. They enjoyed it. So I was like, all right, let me continue. So I went to college. I went to University of Connecticut, UConn, go Huskies. And I studied acting, and did my requisite summer stock and all that stuff, and then moved to New York. But before moving to New York, a bunch of us from school went up to New York to see a play. A friend of ours was in it, Dan Loria. He was the dad in the Wonder Years
Yeah.
back.
Yeah. He used to do
And
the
he
play
was,
readings in Westwood in
yes,
LA. I
yes,
used to go to see his
yes,
play readings. Yeah.
yes. So he was a grad when we were an undergrad, and he had graduated, gone to New York, living the life, and let's go see Dan. So we went to see Dan, and that night I went to, the front desk at his building, and I said, do you have any apartments for rent? And 3 months later, I moved in. Uh, but so one of my first jobs there in New York was I did a lot of extra work. I was a regular extra on the original Equalizer with
Hmm.
Robert McCall. No, Edward McCall. No, what is Edward Woodward. Robert McCall is the character. Edward Woodward was his name. So I did that, and my first movie extra was in a film called Chud, Cannibalistic Human Underground Dwellers.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah. I'm screaming, running through the
Wow.
streets because this thing is chasing us. And
This is all in New
that's all you
York.
see of me. Yes, this is all in New York. And then I landed a 2-year gig on the Cosby Show as a stand-in. And first year I stood in for Rudy, who was 6 years old. They gave me knee pads. And the second year I stood in for Lisa Bonet with no knee pads, which was good.
Ah.
But the cool thing about that is that Bill Cosby's stand-in was Samuel Jackson. So that was a lot of fun to work with him.
Wow.
And then 13 years later, I came out here, and I landed another 2-year stand-in job on a show called Malcolm and Eddie. I was Eddie Griffin's stand-in, and Malcolm was Malcolm Jamal Warner from The Cosby Show.
Mhm.
And this was just pure happenstance. It was
But don't you find in LA especially, but probably New York, I wasn't acting in New York, it's a small community. And especially if you run into the same people that are your type. Like when you go on an audition, don't you walk in the room and you're like, there's a bunch of Shirleys in there, like that look similar to you. It's, a type, the age range and everything. So it's a small community. You end up meeting the same people. And like you said, you feel like they're your tribe. You kind of know everyone.
Absolutely.
But that's
Absolutely.
but from the connection from New York. So New York actors. So when I first got to LA, I stumbled upon a job at William Morris Agency, which is now William Morris Endeavor, having
Right.
no idea what an important position that was, what a great opportunity. And I still wasn't into acting or anything, but I just remember, watching the business from, that side of the business
Yeah.
and seeing, and then of course I got into acting, but never had any huge success. But I loved what I liked about it was the community. I just wanted to feel like I belonged. Everybody else was an actor. So I'm like, okay, I'm an actor. I'll get a headshot. Okay, and that's all I thought you really needed to do. But what I knew is in LA, the New York actors were so revered. Like if you come from New York as an actor and come to LA, we know you're well trained, you've done theater, and just everybody puts you, above everyone else. So I would guess for you that would happen when was that your experience when you came to LA? Was it kind of easier for you?
Um, yes and no, because you have to basically start all over again. Nobody knows you out here.
Yeah, that's true.
So you have to start and make those inroads all over again and find your new tribes and learn there are similarities, but there are also differences. Headshots, color coordinating. I came from New York. I wore black,
Yep.
I went to a colorist or whatever you call these people, color advisors to tell me what
Wow.
color should I be wearing? Because I have black and brown and gray and mostly wool and heavy stuff. And, I'm out here, I need to wear something different. So I had her do my colors. I'm a jewel tone person and I've always remembered that. So, that was different. Acting classes were very interesting because, I was brought up on the stage in New York and it's much bigger than it is standing in front of a camera. So there's that transition you have to make from being larger than life to being smaller, yet more internal. Yeah, I went through all that and it was fun. And there are so many more distractions here than there were in New York. I mean, there's the beach, there's the sun, there's Las Vegas, there's this, there's that, it's like, what am I going to do today? I'm going to study and I'm going to go to class.
Also, when you think about it, in theater, once the curtain goes up and you're on until
we have one take.
Exactly, got one take. With in front of the camera, it's just let's get this scene and then go to your trailer for an hour and a half until we set up the next scene, or right, and you can do it as many times as it takes until you get it right.
Well, television and film is not really the actor's medium. I think it's the editor's medium. And they put it all together and they put it out there for public consumption. No matter how many takes you do, and you may find that, they chose the wrong one, but it's not up to you. The theater came in really handy when I worked for Tyler Perry. I did 2 seasons of Sisters in Atlanta, and he gives you one take. We would shoot 100 pages a day. Normally you shoot about, yeah, genre. Normally, 8, 10. But we would shoot 100 or more a day.
And that was for days first? Did you rehearse for a few days first?
Not really, unless you got together on your own to do it. The first season that we did, no, there was no rehearsal because I remember saying, like I did on Friends, do we have time to run this? And he says, no. So we just did it. And it was like, okay. The second season I went back, it was during the pandemic and 2020, everything shut down. But we were the only production company open. We shot a whole season, 22 episodes in 3 weeks.
Wow.
Do you think that's a strategic thing on his part? Like he just wants everybody to be in the moment, because if you do it too many times, it becomes stale. or it's a budget thing?
I don't think he has a budget problem.
I know. I'm like, Tyler Perry. You know what,
No.
though? Because of who he is, he probably just gets to hire the best people that are able to rise to the occasion, and he doesn't need to do.
And it was I loved it. I loved we were quarantined on his lot in Atlanta. 4,000 acres. What was it? It used to be an old Confederate Army base. And I loved it because I was not working every day. So I had the opportunity to go out and explore and, recharge my batteries and then get back to the set and do what I was supposed to do. And which was what I wanted to do.
Right.
And it all worked out for me. I loved it. And then he flew us home in his private jet and I was happy.
Well, yeah, that's nice. That's big time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well,
So-
so with all of your years of experience and how the business has changed, what would you say to someone who's starting out in the business? Like, where do you start nowadays?
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
that was,
That was somebody's
sorry, that was
computer.
my
Okay.
that was
Um,
timing for that question, actually.
Yeah. Dun-dun-dun. It's like a game show. Now we have to wait for the answer. We planned that, Shirley.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. You did that very well.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, I'm sorry. Answer the question. I'm sorry.
I think I would tell somebody to, one, save your money because, this is such a fickle business and everything's, changing so fast. You don't know where your next job is coming from. And especially now after we've had the strikes that we've had and COVID and this and that, things have gotten a little slower. We are picking ourselves up by the bootstraps and licking our wounds and trying to get back to work. But just have that little rainy day savings because you never know when you're going to need it. And find your tribe. Definitely find your tribe. You can't be out here alone. You can't be anywhere alone, really. You need somebody who's going to love you and you can love them back and just community, family, friends, whether it's an acting class or your neighborhood or whatever, just find people that you
A
can
good support
be with.
system, right?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
And you help each other and you network together. And
Mhm.
so they would probably, you need a headshot or multiple
Um,
headshots now to
well, as
submit
far as
online.
Yes, you do need headshots still, but they do go online and
So you
people
don't have to go
click on
print
the-
them up. You just have a
No,
picture.
no.
It's online. You should
You don't
study.
print up your resumes, you don't print up your headshots, you go nowhere really, you
All
save on
digital.
gas. You have to study, yes. And now there are so many more classes online because of
Oh.
COVID, that you can study with a teacher in Timbuktu if you want to.
Wait,
Or
that's what I wanted to ask you. So when you're submitting an audition, do you
Mhm.
have somebody off camera reading the other part or okay.
Yes.
So you have to have
Yeah.
a friend with you too to read the other
Or not necessarily. There are many ways of doing this. You can have a friend in the room reading off camera. I used to use my husband, but he's got such a big voice that it's like, go stand in the hallway. It's like, oh, I've got the microphone on and you hear him better. So, and then I have friends who I can have on Zoom like this. So, and they Zoom with me. And
Okay.
I also have people who, there are different organizations that put together actors for you. So all you do is call or not call, just text or email and say, hey, I need somebody at 2:30 today. Anybody available? And somebody will show up for you and we'll do this. I've also been stuck where I just sent out the script to my friend and said, record the lines, send them back to me. She records the lines, she sends them back to me. I put them through my Audacity and I leave spaces so I can do my lines and I get to rehearse with it that way and I get to feel it out. It's not the same as having a real person in the room, but when you're stuck, it can
That's
work.
what I used to do back when I'd audition, I'd put the other person's lines on a tape recorder
Mhm.
and I'd
Yeah,
turn it on and I'd go back and forth, with my own voice.
right.
to
But they prefer
get
you
that
don't use
feeling.
your own voice nowadays because it's kind of like a little weird talking to yourself when you're doing
Yeah.
a heavy scene.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always better to have someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a lot more, it's simpler in some ways because you're not going on auditions. And I remember my agents would get mad at me because I wouldn't always stay for the audition if I couldn't find a parking spot. And they'd be like, you can't do that. And I'd be like, but there was no parking. And they'd be like, I don't care, walk a mile, but you've got to find a parking spot and go in. And so you don't have that to deal with anymore. And
No.
then
But in some ways I wish I did. I mean,
You miss
because
it?
I like being in the room. I like feeling the energy. I
Yeah.
like walking into the waiting area and seeing friends who I haven't seen in God knows how long because we couldn't. You know, you don't talk or you don't have those big conversations beforehand.
Right.
Everybody's preparing, but still it's like there's something very comforting and very heartwarming about just being with your tribe again.
Yeah.
And then walking in the room and having somebody go, oh, can we change this up just a little bit? And da 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 da.
Because you're performing for actual people. It might be 2 or 3 or 4 people in the room, but you're doing your lines, you're doing your job in front of them, and you're getting that reaction, which even though you might be getting that same reaction on screen from them, if you're auditioning that way, there's something about being in the room.
Yeah.
And like you said, getting
having an audience.
Absolutely.
Your performance, at least for me, I always go bigger when I have an audience. I'm more animated and just more alive than if you're in a room by yourself. So, but they want to see, can you muster up that kind of animation and passion and feeling just when you're sitting there alone? Because if you can do it then, when you get on set, you're probably going to be even better.
Shirley, I'm sure, you know, when you submit the recording, it's that one take and that's it. That's what they get.
Where you get to
with them, they could say, I liked it, but can you try it this way? And now you get that second or third crack at it the way they want it done.
Right. You don't get that when you're submitting, when you're at home and you're second guessing yourself sometimes and you're going, oh, could I have done that better? Oh, I messed up a couple of lines. Oh, you know, those little things start creeping in when you don't have the other person. They say, don't worry about that. We're going to, you know, pay attention to this. But luckily, again, there are these online courses. I took one not too long ago on doing self-tapes. They said that, you know, they had casting directors there and everything. And they said, you know, you mess up a line, you mess up a word. We don't care. We want to see you. We want to see what you bring to the character, because we can tell in the first, you know, 30 seconds that, you know, whether we want you or not, but we just want to see that character. So don't get so caught up in your head about this sort of thing. Just, you know, kind of have fun with it. Have a lot of fun with it. Let it flow. And however it comes out, it comes out. If you've got a really good beginning and your middle's kind of funky, but your end is great, that's okay. You know, because they see you doing what you're doing. Of course, I try to do the best I can on everything, but I don't want to spend, you know, hours doing a self-tape when I know that it normally takes you 3 minutes in the room.
So what are you working on now that you want to talk
about? I am working on, and as of probably the time this airs, my 3rd episode of Abbott Elementary will have aired. I have done 1 episode a season. This is our 3rd season together. I am really, 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 really just blessed to be amongst this group of people. They are some of the most top-notch performers I've ever been with. It's a whole masterclass in itself. And I love Miss Quinta Brunson, our queen. She has developed this playground for us to go and just hang out with.
And what's the project?
The project is called Abbott Elementary.
Oh, okay. I saw that on your reel. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I wanted more.
Yes. Okay.
I felt myself wanting to know, like, what is this? You know, I was curious. It's got me curious and wanting more, which is the sign of a good, you know, good writing. And good acting.
I agree. The writers are incredible. My writer, the one who writes my character, Brittany Nichols, I was like, hats off to her. Keep going as long as you can. And I play Delicia Sloss. mouthful. And I'm a member of the school board and also a member of the church that Barbara Howard, who is a teacher at Abbott Elementary, she attends as well. And Barbara Howard is played by the incomparable Cheryl Lee Ralph.
Mhm.
So just
Fun.
sharing the screen with her.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, can I tell you, she is as beautiful inside as she is outside, and just a
Oh.
joy to work with. I'm over the moon. I love it. It's a dream job. In
Awesome.
fact, I went to the casting. I went to visit casting this a couple of weeks ago. Wendy O'Brien and Chris Garrett. They they're cool people, and I gave them, little gifts and little cards, and inside I said, "This is like hitting the lottery. It really is. It's like hitting the lottery for me. So now it's your turn." And I gave them a stack of scratch lotteries tickets.
Oh,
So,
fun.
so yeah, and Wendy wrote me back, "I won $18," and I was like, "Oh,
Aw.
great," so
That's cute. Cute. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, got to have fun with this sort of stuff. It's, otherwise,
Yep.
why bother?
Yeah.
Sure. Well,
Yeah. Yeah. I'm excited to see more of that Abbott Elementary. I am definitely going to look for that because it looks like there's more, there's more to the story than what I saw on your demo reel. And I'm like, I need to know what's going on between those two women.
after you,
Yeah.
after you do, more episodes, come on back. Let us
Oh, I'd love to.
Yeah.
again and interview you again and
Yeah.
just talk more about everything that's going on. So,
Yeah.
Kelly,
Well, we really I'm thrilled to meet you. I know you're friends with Jon and talk to an actor. Every time I talk to an actor, I get the bug again because I haven't acted for a long time, but I miss it. It's something, it's hard to describe to other people, but like you said, you find your tribe, and actors, you relate to each other because it's an experience that other people don't have. That kind of, everything you go through, the performance, the studying, all the hard work before you get to, where you are, all the hard work that goes into it. So thank you for sharing. And we are honored to have had someone of your stature and all the stuff you've done on our podcast. We really appreciate you sharing with our audience your beauty inside and out too, and your talent. And we wish you well. Yeah, we're really excited that we got to talk to you. So thank you.
Thank you,
Shirley.
guys. This was so much fun.
Oh,
oh,
we're
Been
going
a
to do it
slice.
again. Hopefully we can do it again. You let us know.
so great. Take care
Certainly will.
very
Okay.
much. Great
Bye.
night.
Bye.
Bye, Shirley. If you're listening to this podcast and are unable to read the disclaimer, we want you to know that all views expressed in this video or audio podcast belong to Kelly Nicholson, Jon D'Amore, and guests. These discussions do not represent the opinions of any entity whatsoever with which they have been affiliated now or will be in the future. The opinions expressed are solely theirs, and since they are critically thinking human beings, these views are subject to change, subject to revision, and subject to rethinking at any time. These conversations are not meant to be taken as advice and are only for the purpose of entertainment. All statements may be based on hearsay and not necessarily valid proof of any claims in this video or audio podcast. It is not our intention to teach or advise on any topic. Unless otherwise noted, all photos are public domain. Thanks for watching.